The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and start attaching the handles and straps to our bag. And there's a lot of different options, so I'm going to walk you through each one and explain to you how to attach the handles to that style of bag and a little bit of why I chose that handle style for that bag. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, the first one we're going to do is the one that has the chain strap attached, because the only thing you really need to do is attach some little loops to attach the strap to, because the strap has its own hardware. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and work with this piece right here. It's just my fused bag front piece, and I've got a few markings on it. I've got 2 pieces of ribbon, and I've gone ahead and already treated the ends of the ribbon with fray check. And I've got X and O marked here for a couple different things, but I know that I need to go ahead and pin this to the X mark. And if you look on your pattern, it tells you exactly what point you put which piece. So I just did the X and O so I knew the difference. And you're just going to go ahead and pin that there. And then you're going to do the other one. You're going to pin this one here. You want about a thumb's width of that hanging over the edge of your piping on your X's. And then you're just going to take it to your machine and just tack it down. That's all there is to it. It's very simple. Okay, so that is the metal strap. Okay, the next one I'm going to show you is if you want to do the small purse handles that attach to the front of your bag, which is this, like this style. Now I will say the small purse handles are only marked for the smallest size bag. I do have markings for the chain strap and for the crossbody strap for the medium bag, and then the larger bag is just a little bit too big to put any other kind of handle besides a lanyard. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're planning your bags out. So on this one, this is the O marking. So I've got my 2 handles that I've already sewn the same way we did a couple times ago when we told you how to cover the webbing with fabric. That's all I've done here. And in the pattern, it told me what size of handle to use. And I know that this is my O mark. And this handle actually will get attached to both the front and the back bag pieces, whereas that chain strap piece only gets attached to the back piece. So same thing, I'm just going to pin those in place, take it to my machine, go ahead and just stitch it in place. It's going to get sewn down again when the bag gets assembled, so you're really just tacking it in place. Do that there. I'm going to do the same thing for the bag front and the bag back pieces, because you can see there's handles on the front and the back, and just stitch that down. So that's everything you have to do for that handle type. The third handle type I'm going to show you is, I'm going to go ahead and actually sew some of this down. So we've got 2 pieces for the crossbody. Now let me explain a couple of things. So this bag, the crossbody straps are right here. The reason I did that is because when I first made the bag, I put the crossbody straps here as I did with the medium-sized bag. But what happens is when you hold the bag up, it goes like this. It just twists. It drives you crazy, especially if you're making it for a child. It's going to drive them nuts. So I thought it was easier, and the bag laid a little nicer on your body if you move the crossbody straps to the back of the bag. So that's why these are here. So we're going to go ahead and do that style. Now for this, we're going to need a little bit of hardware, and it's noted in your pattern. So the first thing you need to do, and these are being attached to the bag back piece, is go ahead, take the shorter of your 2 pieces, and this, like I said, the size is noted on the pattern, and you're going to go ahead, and I know with this one I'm clipping to the X. You're going to fold that. So what I've done is I've looped that over, and I've stitched that. I've just got that right there so I can stitch it, and I've fed a D-ring through the loop, and I'm going to stitch this so you can kind of see where it is. And I'm going to keep the regular foot on my machine and just move my needle over a few clicks so I can tack it down. Like I said, I'm just tacking it down because it's going to get sewn again. Okay. Now you got to pay attention to the next step. And if you need to play this part back again a second time, it's okay, because every time I do this, I have to remember what it is I did. Okay. So what we're going to do is take this piece, and this is called a tri-glide. This is also a tri-glide, but since we're working a smaller strap, I'm going to work with a smaller tri-glide. You're going to cut this off on the end, make sure it's really nice and neat, and then you're going to go ahead, same thing, you're going to cover that with fray check. And what you're going to do is feed this through this tri-glide. And I've got a little glittery one here because this is kind of a fun style bag. Like that. You pull it over about that far. Doesn't really matter, okay? Then we're gonna come over to the machine and I'm just gonna stitch it in place, and I'm gonna try, this is gonna show, so I'm gonna kind of try and make it look nice. I'm gonna stitch. And to that, I'm just gonna back stitch and forward stitch right there. And since I've got the fray check on there, it's gonna kind of keep that from fraying on the end, and I'll go through and make sure all my strings are clipped and everything's looking nice. Okay, so now you've got that on. So now what you need to do is take this piece, make sure, okay, no, nothing's upside down. Okay, and we're gonna feed it through this right here. Okay, so we fed that through there. Now we're gonna come back through our buckle, through the front. Okay, and then we're gonna come back through the other side. Sometimes it gets a little stuck right there. Okay, pull that through right there. And this is what's gonna make it so that you can adjust the length of the strap on your bag. Okay, so now I've got that fed through. Now I just take this end piece and I'm gonna go ahead and attach it over the X. And I'm gonna stitch it. I'm gonna tack that down the same way I tacked down the other one, over the top of the X. Okay, so there is that. And then what I'll probably do is go ahead and kind of wad that up and maybe put like a clip on it so that as I work with the rest of the steps that I don't get that caught in a seam. Okay, so now the last one I'm going to show you is how to do the crossbody strap on the medium size bag that actually fits into the side zipper. Okay, so what we're going to do for that is we've already got our zipper piece right here that we've sewn, and remember we attached this little ring in the last step. So we're kind of going to do the exact same thing we did with this one, but this time we're just going to work with this as the D-ring on the other side. So I'm going to take my strap and I am going to make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. Feed this through here. Okay, hold on. See, I tell you, every time I do this, I have to remind myself of how I did it. I'm going to look at my example for a second just to remember. Because this one's a little different because there's too much bulk in the seam to put another strap on this side. So we're just working with the D-ring. Okay. Feed that through the D-ring. And this one's also a much longer strap to be working with. Okay. I'm going to go ahead, fold this over and attach this through the same way we did for the other one. You're going to want to go ahead and put your fray check down, make that look nice, and we're going to go ahead and tack that down. Okay, so I've sewn over that a couple times. You want to make sure that it's stuck. Okay, so actually I'm going to pull this out because it's easier to do it this way. Okay, I've got this sewn here. Now I'm going to feed this through the D-ring here. Come back up through the buckle, through here, down to the other side, and then this time, since I'm attaching it into the side of the bag, is go ahead and just put this right here. And I'm going to pin it in place, and then I'm going to tack that into that seam allowance that's left from the piping right there. And I'm going to be really careful that I don't sew over my metal zipper. And I am going to go ahead and backstitch this a couple of times because I don't want it to pull out as I'm wearing the bag. Because you know, if you have something heavy in the bag, you don't want it to have a weak spot. Okay? Okay, so now that is attached like that. Same kind of thing, I'm probably just going to kind of gather it in just so it doesn't get in the way when I'm working with it. And that's how you attach the 3 different kinds of handle styles to your bag. And the next thing we're going to do is actually go ahead and start putting the bag together.